John Woo's classic action film The Killer gets a modern remake with a female lead and a Parisian setting. The new version maintains key plot points while adding fresh context, including a focus on nighttime action scenes. Director John Woo's return to the project brings anticipation for a successful remake that captures the essence of the original. Hong Kong director John Woo's The Killer, released in 1989, has long been praised by critics for its take on the action genre. It has just the right amount of fight scenes, blood, witty dialogues, questioning values, and a strong plot to support it all, with outstanding cinematography to boot. Its formula has been copied many times but never equaled. Well, on July 17, the first trailer for a same-named remake of The Killer coming out on August 23 was released by the streaming platform and production company Peacock. Directed by John Woo himself, starring Nathalie Emmanuel and Omari Sy, and taking place in Paris, this new version will try to reprise what caused the success of the original The Killer while changing its setting. John Woo has been recognized as a master of the action genre since the mid-1980s, both in his home country of Hong Kong and overseas, despite the language barrier of his earlier films, including The Killer. He rose to fame with now classic titles such as Hard Boiled, 1992, Face Off, 1997, and A Better Tomorrow, 1986. Although his recent projects have not been at the forefront of popular cinema, he has remained active since then and even directed a much-discussed action Christmas film last year titled Silent Night. However, this remake might just be the way for Woo to take back center stage. The original plot of The Killer is that of a trained assassin named Ah Zhang, who works for the Triads, the underground Chinese criminal groups. He has decided to retire but takes on one more mission in order to pay for the surgery of singer Jenny, whose eyes he damaged during a shootout some months before. Meanwhile, a down-on-his-luck detective, Li Ying, tries to regain the favor of his boss after a sting operation that ended in disaster. He ends up on the same mission as Ah Zhang but on the opposite side. However, when a child gets wounded during the operation, Ah Zhang shows his humanity, and Li Ying starts to see the killer for hire in a more human light. Ensues a cat-and-mouse chase intertwined with friendship between the two men on either side of the law. Although The Killer was originally not a success locally in Hong Kong, it was noticed by overseas audiences and critics. Its completely new take on action movies baffled viewers, with over-the-top action that distinguished itself from simple B-movies by the seriousness and believability of the story and the quality of filming. It is known that this film largely influenced the style of another beloved action director, Quentin Tarantino. While other films from John Woo have been credited with bringing Hong Kong cinema to international audiences, The Killer is generally seen as the apotheosis of his balletic, ethical style. As the great Keith Phipps wrote for The Dissolve, given a bigger budget, a wider audience, and greater expectations, Woo had a lot to live up to with The Killer, and it plays like the work of a filmmaker operating at the highest level of his abilities. The Killer remake has some interesting changes. The remake shares many similarities with the original material. The overall story and main plot points, an assassin and a cop, a woman whose eyes become wounded in a nightclub, a child hurt during a mission, seem to be the same. The trailer even features the famous face-off scene, where the killer and the cop hold each other at point-blank gunpoint. Another thing that did not change, and that is extremely rare for remakes, 35 years after his masterpiece, Woo is directing the new film. It will be interesting to see to what extent he manages to distance himself enough to make a new piece but remain true to his style. The main differences come in context. The titular killer is not a man but a woman, Nathalie Emmanuel. She is joined by rising star French actor Omar Sy, best known for the Netflix series Lupin, in the role of the down-on-his-luck detective. The rest of the cast is also Western, and the movie will be in English. Instead of Hong Kong and the Triads, the assassin operates in Paris. The City of Lights is a smart choice of background for a film whose action seems to mainly take place at night. These differences will definitely separate the original from the remake, potentially making it more attractive to modern audiences as well. It will be interesting to see how the remake of The Killer compares to the original masterpiece. Remakes are more often misses than hits, but the fact that this one has the same director, a talented cast, and a good choice of location might make it a success. The Killer is scheduled to be released on Peacock on August 23, 2024.